Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, Ravens versus Commanders post-game reaction. Let's talk. So the Ravens get a big win yesterday at home, and by now, everybody in Ravens Nation knows the results of that game, whether you watched it live, saw the highlights on SportsCenter, or you heard it in some type of content creation analysis. And so I'm just going to give you 4 takeaways from this game. My number one takeaway from this game is that the Baltimore Ravens offense is the most balanced it's been in the Lamar Jackson era. We understand that they've always been kind of a run team and they wanted to make the pass secondary, but I don't think up until this point they had the personnel in that backfield to make a defense honor the running back. Yeah, we know we had JK and we had Gus Edwards, but they don't have and didn't have the presence that a Derrick Henry has. Just by his sheer presence in that backfield, it's a run threat, right? And so I think that's what I'm noticing, right? The defense has no choice at this point than to put 8 and 9 in the box and hope that the Baltimore Ravens cannot beat them with the pass. And so this Derrick Henry addition has done more to bring balance than anything. Yes, the Baltimore Ravens are dominating in the run game, but they've been dominating in the run game for a number of seasons with lesser talent at running back. I think it's just the presence of Derrick Henry that changes the game. Is he great? Yes. Is he downhill? Yes. Is he over 700 yards after 6 games? Yes. But I think it's his presence that causes defenses to play us differently, and it has created a more of a balance offensively. My take number 2 is that with the balance in the offense, you can see the pressure be lifted off of Lamar Jackson, and he's now even more judicious with the delivery of the ball. I think what we've seen in the past when it came to Lamar Jackson, there was an immense amount of pressure that he had to make the perfect throw, he had to make the perfect run, he had to have the perfect play fake, and he had to be the catalyst for everything that this offense does. Now, he is still the catalyst. Let's not get it twisted. I've heard a lot of people try to say that Derrick Henry is the catalyst, but that's not true. Lamar Jackson is still the catalyst. But I think that with a balanced offense, right, where he can look around the perimeter and see Zay, Mark Andrews yesterday, Nelson Aguilar made a pretty good catch, and then Derrick Henry and Justice Hill in the backfield and also out of the backfield. I think that he's now feeling more comfortable with trusting the guys around him, whereas before that wasn't the case. So that's the second take I have. Take number 3. I think that the defensive line is legit against the run. Okay. I think that the linebacker play is still suspect. I think that the secondary play is still suspect, but I think those guys up front are legit. And I think that if we can keep being disciplined in gap control, I think if we can be consistent with pressure up the middle, I think that we will still continue to be good against the run. That doesn't mean somebody won't bust off a 100-yard game against us at some point, because all it takes is one broken play and they can tally up a lot of yards. But I think if we keep doing what we're doing in the trenches specifically, I think that we'll be okay against the run, and then the second level and the third level of the defense can get their act together more and more by the week. My fourth take is that the best coaching move that John Harbaugh has made in a couple of seasons, but specifically this season, is the move to keep Patrick McCarry at left guard, right? I know that he had made some indecisions, at least from the fan base perspective, to keep trying to rotate McCarry at right tackle with Rosengarten. There were some questions on whether he should replace Daniel Falele with Ben Cleveland. And but when Voorhees went down and he put McCarry at left guard and started Rosengarten, this offensive line has developed another level of consistency. They're becoming more solid against the pass or in pass blocking, and they've definitely become more consistent in the run blocking. And so I think that that's been the best move that John Harbaugh has made, is to continue to go with Macari, even though Voorhees is healthy. But I also think that that helps this offensive line, because now you have a guy in Voorhees who you know can step in if need be, because he's already been a starter this year. And so, I'm gonna give a shout out to John Harbaugh for making that decision. So hopefully he don't mess that up by trying to be too fancy. A bonus take. I think that what we're seeing from the Ravens as a collective unit is that they're learning to trust each other more, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more people be right place, right time. I'm seeing more people doing their jobs and not over committing to something that's not their assignment. I'm seeing this unit gel more. I said from the beginning of the season that I thought that it would take 4 games for this team to find themselves. And I think it took up until about game 5 and the shootout with the Bengals to really kind of just trust that they can do whatever they needed to do to win. And so whether it's a shootout, whether it's dominating in the run game, whether it's improved pass blocking, improved run blocking, they've been able to do that. Okay, so those are my 4 takeaways from yesterday's game. Not just for some random conversation. Kind of a universal or holistic takeaway is that it's becoming very apparent what we need on this team to really be in contention. I know all of the sports media right now is going to say the Baltimore Ravens are a Super Bowl contender. I still don't think so, because I think the secondary is still weak, especially at the free safety position. Marcus Williams has consistently gotten beat in coverage. He's consistently, just kind of seems to be overwhelmed at times when he's in coverage, and he's not playing well. Right now, if you guys got another take about Marcus Williams, by all means, let me know. But he's just not playing good right now. In fact, both free safeties are not playing well at this time. And so I don't think that there is a safety or a corner that you're going to be able to bring in order to fix that secondary. But what I am going to say is, it's very apparent that we need an edge rusher who can go get the quarterback. I know Calvin Noy is top 3 right now in the league in sacks. But Calvin Noy is not what you call a dominant pass rusher, somebody you're game planning for, somebody who can just come out and wreck a game. He's not that. Calvin Noy has kind of been right place, right time to get some of these sacks. And the guys that we were leaning on to kind of step up this year, the David Ojabo, haven't heard from him much at all this year, especially in the last 4 games. Hadn't heard from David Ojabo, have not heard from Tavius Robinson this year. And then so it's just Odafe Oweh and Calvin Noy. And those aren't 2 guys who can just beat their man and go get the quarterback. And it was some plays yesterday when it was 3rd and long on a couple of occasions, when it was 4th down and long on a couple of occasions. If we had a guy that could go get the quarterback, that instantly off the snap, he's in the backfield causing some havoc, we get off the field on a couple of those plays. I think the inability to get off the field, especially when it's 3rd and long, I think that is going to cost us from being a real contender, because it's continuing to show up. And listen, by all means, disagree with me, but that's what I see. I see a need for a dominant type pass rusher, because we're not getting nothing beyond Odafe and Calvin Noy. I was glad to see Ndakwe get in the backfield and get a sack yesterday, so shout out to him. The other thing that's becoming very apparent, and I've kind of been harping on this since the offseason, is we need a number 1 wide receiver. I know that is a controversial statement from Zay Flowers' performance yesterday, but I think that Zay is better served to be a number 2 than a number 1. You can kind of see when in that first quarter, or first half rather, it was Zay or nothing at wide receiver. I think Bateman caught a ball or 2, but I think that when things get tight, having that number 1 wide receiver on the field makes life easier for Zay and then for Rashad Bateman. I think everybody's playing up a level right now, meaning Zay is having to be a number one where he may be better served at a number two. Bateman is having to be a number two when at this point in his career, he may just be a number three. And then, of course, Aguilar's having to play up. You see, if we go get a number one, we can stop questioning where guys like Devontae Walker is, if Tylan Wallace is going to get any more snaps, that kind of thing. In about another week, I think the trade deadline is November 5th. I may have that date wrong, but that means we got about 20 days, something like that. And so I got a video that I'm doing on potential trade candidates at the wide receiver position based on other teams' records and the potential for their playoff berths. And so, man, that's what I'm thinking, man. We need an edge and we need a wide receiver. I know the question of cap space and all of those things are going to be big in question. I understand that. But if this right now is not an all-in season, then I don't know when we're going to ever go all in. The Baltimore Ravens in the Lamar Jackson era have yet to go all in. In the 2019 season, Lamar Jackson MVP season, we didn't make any all-in moves. In the 2023 season, when the Baltimore Ravens had the best defense in the league and the offense was really doing their thing down the stretch, dominating, we didn't make an all-in move, right? So my question is for the fan base, if not now, then when? When will the Ravens go all in? I think it has to be this year. I think it has to be this year, where we've been mostly healthy. We have revamped the offensive line and they're now gelling. We have Derrick Henry in-house so he can take that running pressure off of Lamar Jackson, so Lamar Jackson can just be a passer at times. I think it has to be now. So you guys let me know what you want me to know. Do you think it's now time for the Baltimore Ravens to go all in and say F those picks and F the cap? Right? Because there is ways in this offseason to rebalance that cap space. Right? You guys have heard me talk about that before. So I think it's time. So I'm Nick Boulanger. I'm out.